Okay.
So you know that if a narrative or some uh, mis some disinformation is repeated enough that it will essentially become true for everybody, right? You know that if it's repeated enough that it'll become true. Okay. But here's the thing. Like if you've seen that falsehood, right, that is being repeated, right, and you know that um, eventually you're going to be confronted because we all say this and you're all going to know this is true. How long is it long enough? Because I don't even make that part up. Like, I don't even make that part up. This shit is still in motion. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. But what happens when an unstoppable force meets when an unstoppable when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object? So what happens is right
Right now, right?
I followed the scientific discourse as far as I could until it was this is it.
And okay.
I followed the information until it was just like that. It was like, well, here's this and here's that. Here's what have you. It was like, it's what have you. Like, until we know, right? But when people say we don't have enough information or we know, it wasn't at the point. It wasn't there. Like, it wasn't like, able to, like, if you can balance a cone on top of another cone, right? By the points, they were not lined up. The when you say like, well, we don't know yet, right? It should not be um like until you've carried the discourse to its to its end where we all have like the same questions about keyword transmissibility, aerosolized, radiation. Those three words you lost me. Those three words I could lose you because that's where you come to the crux. You come to the crux of the discussion when talking about how does COVID-19 um, uh, communicate, like become communicable, right? How does it go from one person to the next? You know, I understand. I can take a bucket, right, of a virus and dump it on somebody. It doesn't necessarily mean that that person has the virus. You know, it like that's it means that they have a higher chance, right? But how is it transmissible? Okay, and then you talk. Now you're talking about power cells, right? Coronal mass collapse, coronal mass ejection, coronal mass effect. Coronal meaning like the core of an onion, right? Is more potent, right? It's like the crux, like the crux. Now you're back to the crux. The core corona. Like people say, corona means crown. Yeah, sure, it means crown. Yeah, and you're just like that person I'm describing. It says we don't have enough information to suggest that it also means slave and it also means um, son. You can get a lot more context from suns. Like you get a lot more text delineation from stars than you want to even admit. Then you don't even want to acknowledge that they're social beings because then you have to acknowledge people are social beings, and then you can't play that game on them that they need to sequester themselves and hiding from uh, the sun, the astringent sun, right? The sun is the um, is most powerful astringent, and well, not most powerful astringent, but it is sunlight is an astringent. What am I saying? I don't know. It kills COVID. Kills COVID. Um, it it creates vitamin C, which you use to combat, right? Like a bat creates its own vitamin C because it doesn't get sun, right? So so for your, why do you want knowledge? Like, why would you want knowledge about that? Because you could use that, right, to create an imbalance and a festering wound, or like an outbreak. Like, it's like you could use. I lost myself. I kind of know. I'm looking at two things, right? I could explain either one, and I don't know which one to explain. I don't. Then I forget. Then I forget. So, but so what it is like, you hear people saying this thing, right, and you know that that's some malarkey, it's a farce, right? Being stuck, it's a stick up. And I'm like, well, I'll just be the last one to hold out to the point where you will realize that if somebody asks you why you're not wearing your mask, that you're talking. I'm still talking to a concern, an issue. I'm talking to progress. I'm talking to. Uh, um, I could be talking to fear. Like, I could even talk to fears. Like, what I'm talking to is not a human, and it never was. And if you're talking to me, I'm allowing you to talk to ideas, concepts. I'm allowing you to talk to things, and we have to ask what it is that you're saying talks to. So I hear what you're saying, and what does that speak to? Right? But they're, you know what I'm saying? But they're like checking to make sure that you mark this, or they want to fill out your voter card or something. So your shit don't go over. But so I'm like, I'm not saying that, but like, when you think that you're talking to them, when you think that you're talking to that person, because they will not allow you to talk to the whole vignette of different concerns and issues anymore. You just want to know. You just want to know, who are you? What side are you on? I'm like, I ain't even fucking with you like that. And but then sometimes you wonder if how I'm going about this is the right way. Then I'm not fucking with anybody, because that'll make you stronger. I'm talking to myself. It's like a mirror. Some people talk in a mirror. This one, I don't have a mirror. I'm holding this my palm of my hand like a mirror. Is it over? Sometimes you don't get a video out of this. But so yeah, it's just that, and yeah. So what do I know?